Šalia bus Dabar. Tai apie trečią programą?
Transliacija? Aha, sakė man šiek tiek šitą laimės.
Žinai, kaip atrodo Zygimantas, Jėzus, tas, kur taipinis virsta. Tai pirmai jie.
Bet pakels rankas, ar ne? Vis tiek?
Ir tada... Ir tada kitas bus taipinas sausinas, tai šiam užduo, jisai klaus antroji daly.
Aha, ir viskas?
Ne,
ar dar kažkas bus? Gerai. Yeah.
Ministry of Energy on Facebook.
Okay, from there, thank you.
Kas klausinės, sakė, jūs suderint, plius minus suderint. Tam tas toksai išnas paukės galia.
Jisai iš Alender, atrodo.
Aha.
O jisai viskas kažkur, ne?
Tai tu prasme, jo, kažkur, ta prasme, tik parodė man irgi
iš įpročio sėsti, galimai jie net labai ir atsės. Tai visai protinga, netgi jeigu jie stovėtų kad ir šone, ir tiesiog jūsų mikrofoną duotų klausimus. Tai jeigu tokia eilutė atsitiktų, tada iš vis būtų mūsų. Galim sutarti, kad toj pusėje formuojame, kad realiai jūs galite laikyti mikrofoną, toj pusėje jie prieina šonę, užduoda klausimą, nes jeigu kol kas nepanašu, kad kažkas sės, tiesiog bus labai daug bardako ir triukšmo. Ir pagal tai galim daryti eilę. Tai iš vis nereikės nieko nei pranešti, nei padavinėti. Jo, jūs su kuo kalbėjot?
Man čia iš Melketės mūsų, žinai, ta prasme Renatas sutarus yra, kad sakė, va šitas sprendesnis.
Antroji, pirma dalis du klausimai yra, jau yra pasiskirstę Gintautas ir Taip.
Palauk, kur čia sėdi, virzdama antrus.
O antroji dalis bus sėdi.
Ai, va čia pareina.
Ne, pirmas bus užklausimas eurokomisaras ir šitas kalbės, ir premjeras. stogos, antra dalis yra ministriaus stogas. Tai kai ministras kalbės, kol bus paleista.
Tai žiūrėkit, viskas yra gerai.
Pakelia ranką ir tada jau...
Žinai, kaip dabar galima daryti visai kitaip. Niekas nesėda ir nereikia sėsti, jeigu jie nenori sėdėti. Mes galim stovėti ten su mikrofonu, sutarti su korespondentų ir visais kitais, kad jie realiai prieina prie šono, mes jau palaikom mikrofoną ir jau užduoda klausimą. Nes dabar, kai pradės visi sėsti, nebent jie atsisės, tada mes įvaja nežinau, vardas spręs.
Gerai. Tai geriau prieiti prie šono.
Aš manau, žinoma. Tada nereikės vaikščioti, netrukdysime kamerų ir bus gerokai patogiau. Realiai, taip pat arba ten galime daryti, tada mes ten praeidame. Arba į šoną, tada sutarkim, kad tiesiog prieina prie mūsų ir viskas. Tai jūs tada pasakykit, Alender.
O tai kur man tada stovim?
Tai mes tvarkoj, vis dar stovim šoną. Tada sutarsim, kad jie prie jūsų prieina, jūs palaikysite mikrofoną ir tokiu būdu jie užduoda klausimą.
Sėdėti jau turiu.
Dear guests, I'm inviting to press conference after successful synchronization with continental Europe. We have Prime Minister of Lithuania Gintautas Paluckas. We have EU Commissioner for Energy and Housing Dan Jorgensen. We have EU Commissioner for Defense and Space Andrius Kubilius. And I would like to invite first Prime Minister of Lithuania, Gintautas Paluckas, to say a few words.
Labą dieną, gerbiami komisarai, mėly ministrai, susirinkę svečiai. Nuo pat įstojimo į Europos Sąjungą 2004 metais, praktiškai nuo pat, sinchronizacija buvo Lietuvos ir Baltijos šalių vienas pagrindinių tikslų. Dar 2007 metais Gedimino Kirkilo vyriausybė priėmė šį strateginį sprendimą. Jo įgyvendinimui be jokios abejonės prireikė beveik 18 metų ir visų vyriausybių indėlio. Todėl iš tiesų reikia padėkoti tiek Gediminui Kirkilui, tiek Andriui Kubiliui, tiek Algirdui Butkevičiui, tiek Sauliui Skverneliui, tiek Ingridai Šimonytei, jog kaip mes kartais Lietuvoje juokaujame, nemetė kelio dėl takelio. Iš tiesų norėčiau pasveikinti ir visą Lietuvos energetikų bendruomenę, ne tik Lietuvos, Latvijos ir Estijos, be kurių sunkaus darbo šis projektas, matyt, nebūtų įgyvendintas tokie apimtimi ir tokiuose kokybinėse parametruose, kuriuos turime dabar. Taip pat atskirai reikėtų matyti padėkoti visai Europos bendrijai, nes mūsų draugai Europoje, mūsų partneriai finansavo beveik 2/3 šio projekto kaštų. Ir iš tiesų be šios investicijos, be šios pagalbos ir paramos šio projekto įgyvendinimas būtų matyti šiek tiek sudėtingesnis ir truktų ilgesnį laiko tarpą. Ir atskirai matyti reikėtų padėkoti ir mūsų geriems draugams ir partneriams Lenkams, Lenkijos valstybei, kurių sprendimai tiek dėl Litpoliink, tiek dėl Harmony Link yra nepaprastai svarbus ir strategiškai išvalgus. Žiūrint į ateitį, bet kokia nepriklausomybė, net ir energetinė, turi būti ginama ir saugoma. Todėl ir ateinančiams vyriausybėms darbo tikrai netrūks. Jungtis turės būti saugomos, papildomos jungtis turės būti stiprinamos ir tiesiamos, o vietiniai generaciniai pajėgumai plečiami. Tik tada galėsime sakyti, jog iš tikrųjų esame stiprus, duodantis ir į Europos kontinentinius tinklus naudą energetikos sistema. Iš tikrųjų, šiandien yra šventė, Lietuva bent jau švenčia jau antrą dieną, todėl kad tikime ir pasitikime savo energetikais, tikime, jog tie darbai, kurie buvo atlikti, yra padaryti teisingai, todėl dar kartą visus sveikinu, ne tik Lietuvą, bet Latviją, Estiją ir visą Europą. Ačiū.
So, dear commissioners, dear ministers and guests, today we have a synchronization with European energy networks, and this work that we have made here today has begun in 2004 with the EU accession. And it took a lot of work from all the governments in between, from Alender Brazauskas to Mr. Kirkilas, Butkevičius, Skvernelis, and Šimonytė. And the communique for starting this work began in was signed in 2007, and so it took almost 18 years. And also it took a lot of help from our partners in Latvia and Estonia, and a lot of work from our personnel in energy sector in all of these Baltic states. And only because of their hard work, the scale and quality of this project was possible to be achieved. I would also like to separately thank the European Commission and our partners in Europe, because without their funding, which made 2/3 of the project costs, the achievement of such a rapid project would not be possible. And also I would like separately to thank our partners and friends in Poland, who wisely supported us in the future projects of Harmony Link and also in the Litpol Link. And future governments will also have a task ahead of them to ensure our security and independence in the energy sector. They will have to protect the current projects and to ensure new projects to be executed in the future. And also, because of these projects, our generation capabilities will be able to benefit Europe as a whole. And we are celebrating for a second day now, because we believe that our energy employees will be able to finalize this project securely and safely. And so this is a day of celebration. Thank you.
And now I would like to ask to say a few words, EU Commissioner for Energy and Housing, Dan Jorgensen.
Thank you so much, and thank you for hosting me here on this very historic day. It's been long underway. At the same time, actually, it's been possible to have this synchronization 10 months, so almost a year before the original plan. Why? Because of hard work, because of dedication, because we have stood together in Europe on this very, very important task. So no doubt energy policy is also security policy. Unfortunately, we are in a terrible situation in Europe where Russia has brutally invaded Ukraine. This obviously affects us all, and first and foremost, it shows us that we need to be independent. We need to be 100% independent of energy from Russia, from the Russian energy systems. Therefore, today is an extremely important day for our security in Europe, not only in the three Baltic states, but for us all. I want to thank the Baltic states for the enormous work that they have done in the years and months that has brought us here. I want to also thank Poland for the specific efforts that they have done. This could not have happened without Poland. Obviously, I'm also proud that we have been able in the European Union, from the European Commission and the rest of the institutions side, to provide significant funding, 1.2 billion euros. It is a lot of money, but it is also a very, very important cause for all of us. So even though this is primarily, for me, a question about security, it's also clear that this synchronization is important for other reasons. It will help the Baltic countries and Europe as a whole become more integrated in our energy systems. Thereby, it will be easier to decarbonize. Thereby, it will be easier to be more competitive, get the energy prices down, which will be of a benefit for both our industries and for our households. So with those words, thank you again.
And now I would like to ask to tell a few words EU Commissioner for Defense and Space, Andrius Kubilius.
Well, thanks a lot, dear colleagues. Maybe just a few words, first of all, about the history, and then a few words about the future. Really, what Prime Minister have said, this is a historical day for all of us, for the whole region, for the whole Europe. Why? Because, we are coming very close. On 11th of March, we shall celebrate 35th anniversary of our political independence, of Lithuania. During those 35 years, I was in different positions, including as Prime Minister, and we were doing a lot on energy independence. Why I am speaking about those 35 years? Because when I am looking back into our history, I see two major goals which we were trying to achieve during those 35 years after we regained our independence. First of all, it was our integration towards EU and NATO. It took for us 14 years. And then, of course, energy independence. It took 35 years. Why? Because when we regained our independence and Soviet Union collapsed as the last empire on European continent, it collapsed politically and legally, but empire of grids and pipelines was still in place. And it appears that it was much more difficult to get out from this, empire of those dependencies, and we managed to achieve what we can celebrate today. Of course, it took several very big steps till this moment. We managed to build our independent oil terminal in Baltic Sea, in Būtingė. We managed to build LNG terminal in Klaipėda, and now the final stage when we are getting rid of our dependencies in electricity systems. So that is the history, which again I'm trying to tell that this is for us, for Lithuania, for Baltic states, is something miracle had happened. What is the future? The future really is, well, from one side, we are becoming much more secure with our energy systems. From another side, of course, learning from tragic war in Ukraine, tragic war against Ukraine. We need to understand how important really is security of electricity connections, for electricity generation, because we see all the atrocities which Russia is doing in Ukraine, first of all, are targeted towards energy infrastructure. We see the same happening in Baltic Sea. We see around, and we need to be really much more effective in defending all our connections, energy generation capacities, and that is what I hope Europe also will take care about that. In some way also, maybe that could be responsibility of Commissioner which is responsible for defense and space. Thanks a lot.
Thank you so much. Now we have question time, 2 questions in total. So please. Giedrius Benas.
Okay. Giedrius Gaidamavičius, News Agency, Baltic News Service. My question is addressed to your commissioners. Do you agree that the protection of critical energy infrastructure in the region, also in the Baltic Sea, needs separate EU funding? And when Baltic Sea countries can expect such EU funding? Is it possible only in the next EU budget period?
Should I start?
Yeah, sure.
Who has the money?
Who has the money? It is very clear, I think, to everybody in Europe that our energy infrastructure is now also a part of our wider security. It is also, unfortunately, clear that it is under threat. So I can assure you that the Commission is very dedicated to make sure that we have ways of standing up to that threat. It is very clear that this is not something that is easily done. It needs even closer collaboration than we already have between the relevant member states. It needs our allies and friends in NATO to also be a part of this, and my services are working very closely with the NATO services in a task force to look at exactly these elements. Obviously, there's also a very relevant question about funding, one that will be high on the agenda when we discuss the coming MFF, and it's too early, of course, to say exactly how those discussions and negotiations will end. But what I will say is that I have yet to meet any European politician that do not agree with me that this is very important for all of us, for our security.
Maybe, yeah, just to add a few words what Commissioner Dan Jorgensen have said. In near future, Commission will come with 3 very important strategic papers. One is direct responsibility of myself. It's a so-called white paper on European defense. Besides that, there will be strategy on European preparedness based on President Niinistö report, and also there will be a strategy of internal security. So the question really is, you can see very, very clearly that security and defense is one of the top priorities for this Commission. The question is where we shall put, the proper language and some kind of strategic language on how to defend and to secure our critical infrastructure. That still will be decided. But definitely, we need to take care, when we see what is happening around, we need to take care about security of that infrastructure. And of course, that will demand proper financing. Next MFF is, started to be informally discussed, but next MFF will come only in 2028, operationally. Will we find additional money? That is discussion, broader discussion about defense and so on. We shall see. We are looking for some possibilities, but definitely protection of critical infrastructure is part of our preparedness for the whole defense of European continent.
And another question, Zygimantas.
Žygintas Abramoitis, Lietuvos radijas ir televizija. Premjerė, jums klausimas. Nepaisant labai džiugių nuotaikų, gero savaitgalio ir šventinės tikrai tokios nuotaikos, vienas paskutinis elementas, kur Rusija dar gali turėti įtakos Lietuvai, lygiai taip pat kaip ir mes galim turėti jiems, tai yra tranzitas į Kaliningradą. Ir tai yra klausimas, kuris jautrus yra abiems pusėms. Ar jūs matote galimybių kažkaip spręsti tą klausimą, mažinti grėsmes, kurias gali sukelti ir sukelia tranzitas į Kaliningradą? Ir ar matytumėte tai kaip mūsų galios įrankį daryti įtaką Rusijai ir paimti mums galbūt naudingus sprendimus?
Pirmiausia, susitarimas dėl tranzito yra trišalis, ne dvišalis tarp Lietuvos ir Rusijos federacijos. Todėl šis klausimas turi būti sprendžiamas kartu ES lygmenį. Tačiau, kalbant apskritai apie kažkokį tai galios demonstravimą, jeigu mes norime kitų valstybių padaraus elgesio, nors kai kada tas mūsų tikėjimas arba tikėjimasis kaip sakyti, neduoda pagrindo, bet tikrai nemanau, jog mums reikėtų šiandien mėginti kažkuom tai grasinti ar demonstratyviai elgtis, nes aš tam nematau jokio pagrindo. Šiandien mes švenčiame savo nepriklausomybę, žinome, kad Kaliningrado sritis save aprūpina elektra autonomiškai dabar ir kalbant apie papildomus tranzito klausimus, mes be jokios abejonės galime diskutuoti tik tai ES kontekste.
So first of all, this treaty on the transit, Kaliningrad transit, was signed by 3 parties, not 2. So we cannot solve it with 2 parties. We have to escalate this issue on the European level. Second of all, speaking of shows of power, maybe this might sound like a hope, but I don't think that we should do that thing that we expect other side to do. And I don't think that we should try to show power or threaten anybody. Currently, we are happy because we are independent in energy sense, and Kaliningrad has its own energy system, so that these issues for now are not relevant.
Thank you, Prime Minister, Commissioners, thank you. And I will invite our next speakers, Minister of Energy of Lithuania, Zygimantas Vaiciunas, Minister of Climate of Estonia, Yoko Alender, Minister of Climate and Energy of Latvia, Kaspars Melnis, and Minister of Climate and Environment of Poland, Paulina, Hennig, Kloska. Thank you. And I'll invite first to say a few words, Minister of Energy of Lithuania, Zygimantas Vaiciunas.
Thank you. My heart is beating loudly and strongly today, the same as for my colleagues. And the reason is very simple, because our electricity system beats the same frequency as in the EU. On the screen, you can see the synchronization moment. It has been done 5 minutes after 2 today. So yesterday we became independent. Today we became integrated in the continental European networks. That's a really important element of our history, of our energy policy history. We have been targeting that goal for the long time. This is the first time when after 65 years of energy dependence on Russia, we are becoming independent. And this is the most important element for our societies, for our economies, and for all of us. First of all, I would like to thank all the people who managed this process to be a success story. I mean, first of all, our partners, our colleagues from Estonia, Latvia, Poland, for the European Commission for the political commitment and the financial support, and of course the transmission system operators who have been doing all this important job. Also all the energy communities, all the companies working together patiently, strongly, and synchronously. This has been done in a timely manner, 2025, on the same date which we have agreed in 2018. So the project is done in time, and that's very important for our future. Of course, we are not stopping here. We are entering the new stage. And the new stage, of course, this is the critical infrastructure protection. This is also building additional infrastructure, which is important to make our systems even more stronger. But I believe, and I see that now our region is as strong as never concerning the energy resilience, and just we have to safeguard the things which we have created during these years. This is almost 2 decades project, but it is now finished, it's completed. But first of all, I would like to refer to the historical element. So we have been occupied during the Soviet Union times for 50 years, and energy dependency lasted for 65 years. And I think that this is really important also for our societies, and we have the people, deportees in that time, in the Soviet Union times, in Lithuania, Estonia, Latvia, Poland, who have now can witness the joy of this success. And I think this is really important element. Ukraine is still fighting, and I'm happy to say that some of the infrastructure which will be just going from that system, from that old system, could be also donated to Ukraine to support their infrastructure resilience. That's a very important element, how we can support and donate this to Ukraine. So it's also important element for, as I said, historically, and that's why I would like to share this joy with our societies. This is the way forward, and I'm glad to say that this project made us and our cooperation synchronized in the best available mode. Thank you, colleagues.
Thank you, Minister. Now I would like to invite to say a few words, Minister of Climate of Estonia, Yoko Alender.
Thank you, dear colleagues, dear listeners. This was a historic step. 30 years ago, the Baltic states stood hand in hand in the Baltic chain, fighting peacefully for independence. Today, we have made another step, and we have the Baltic Energy Independence Day, and we have successfully and securely connected with the continental European grid. We did this to make our system safe, to be independent from the Russian grid. We do control our own electricity system now. It's been a long path. The path of building trust is a long path. It takes time. It started with the common values that we share in Europe. It started with promises, but that's not enough. Trust is built by small, dedicated action every day, by keeping every promise and fulfilling it with dedicated deeds. These, in this case, were the deeds of countless energy engineers, electricians, the people who were doing their daily job, but based on these values that we share. Also, the work of many European politicians, civil servants, and they all had in mind the building of this trust. Today we have finally arrived. We also have the trust of our people, that we promised to do this so that the lights wouldn't flicker, that our homes would stay warm, and we did this. So thank you everyone once again. Also, the energy security is our shared responsibility in Europe, and we take it very seriously. We have also a huge power in this partnership. We have today agreed on a joint statement with the colleagues in the Baltics and also Poland on building further on protecting our European common critical infrastructure. And we will also continue on the work of increasing the production capabilities, the interconnections, and strengthening our grids. The goals here is to provide the whole of Europe a really strong energy system where we have prices that are good, where we have energy security, and we also have clean energy. So once again, I want to say thank you and for completing this path of trust successfully.
Thank you, Minister. And now I would like to invite to say a few words Minister of Climate and Energy of Latvia, Kaspars Melnis.
Dear colleagues, I would say brothers and sisters, neighbors that we can trust. And secondly, I would say huge thank you for each person who involved their time, work, for this moment could get was as smooth as possible. And I remember one of the first talks, and I have a question about how could it go. The best way would be how to be synchronization started. How you wake up in the morning, drink your tea, and you synchronize it, and that's how it happens. And that gives huge possibility that we together cooperated, we can make huge things done. It's make us more stronger, and we can more and more understand that we can support each other and we can trust each other. And if you talk about trust, we showed that mostly for society, the society can trust for politicians, for government, for what we're doing. For these days, we know there was a lot of disinformation about you must switch your phone, that everything will be blackout, and nothing of that happens. And that shows that even gives strange signal for society that yes, we are doing what we are saying, we're going by the plan, and if we're saying it's going by the plan, it's going by the plan. And that's very important for all of us. Of course, it couldn't happen for cooperation with European, and also we now are totally full family of European energy sector, we're much more independent, we are much more safer, and I think at this point, for nobody is question why we did it faster. We all know the situation was happening now. So once again, huge thank you for each person, from technical persons, experts, to politicians who was going for this goal, and let this happen as smooth as possible, I would say in the best way as you all expected.
Thank you, Minister. And now I would like to invite to say a few words Minister of Climate and Environment of Poland, Paulina, Hennig, Kloska.
Szanowni Państwo, Drodzy przyjaciele, czas oznajmić, że dzisiejsza synchronizacja kończy czas, kiedy energia elektryczna, system elektroenergetyczny Europy mógł być przedmiotem szantażu ze strony Rosji. Europa próbowała destabilizować rynek energetyczny, zanim czołgi wjechały na Ukrainę. Mieliśmy do czynienia z wojną w obszarze właśnie energii i nigdy więcej, szanowni państwo, nie możemy na to pozwolić. Nasze uzależnienie od paliw kopalnych Rosja próbowała wykorzystać do tego, by destabilizować nasze społeczeństwa i to właśnie obywatele Europy Środkowo-Wschodniej odczuły tę próbę destabilizacji Europy najbardziej.
Ladies and gentlemen, dear guests, dear friends, first of all, I'd like to say that the synchronization of the Baltic states' power system with continental Europe is a historic moment that ends the period when energy was a tool for blackmail or impact over the region by Russia. Even before the war in Ukraine, Russia attempted to destabilize Europe through energy market and increase our dependence on fossil fuels. Countries in the Central and Eastern Europe were witnesses to that, were feeling that most of all.
Jeśli chcemy, szanowni państwo, budować odporność Europy, jeżeli chcemy budować odporność naszych społeczeństw, naszych krajów, musimy zmniejszać wpływy Rosji w Europie. I dzisiejszy dzień, dzisiejsza synchronizacja jest dużym krokiem milowym właśnie w tę stronę. Chciałabym serdecznie pogratulować naszym przyjaciołom z krajów sąsiednich, krajów bałtyckich, tego wysiłku organizacyjnego, który dla całej Europy powinien być wzorem do naśladowania, wzorem idealnej współpracy i ogromnie cieszę się, że jako minister odpowiedzialny również za obszar energii z Polski mogę dzisiaj uczestniczyć w tym naprawdę historycznym momencie i mogliśmy jako Polska odegrać w tym procesie tak istotną rolę. Tak, to był ogromny wysiłek organizacyjny, duże nakłady inwestycyjne, dlatego też ogromne podziękowania dla przedstawicieli Unii Europejskiej, dla panów komisarzy. Proszę przekazać w Brukseli, że Unia Europejska dołożyła swoją cząstkę w finansowaniu, w budżecie tego przedsięwzięcia, bo dziś tak naprawdę kraje bałtyckie zyskują prawdziwą niepodległość energetyczną. Serdecznie jeszcze raz bardzo gratuluję.
If we want to build our resilience capacity and increase independence, we must first of all decrease Russia's impact on our societies and countries. It concerns the entire Europe. Today we've made a huge step into this direction. Gratitude goes to the Baltic states because of their organizational changes, huge investments efforts, and also to the entire European Union. To the entire European Union, Baltic countries are the example to follow. Myself, as Polish minister, I'm also very glad to take part in this event and also emphasize the important role, efforts and investments that have been done. Gratitude also goes to the European Commission, and I'd like to also emphasize the Brussels attempts to contribute to the success of this project that we are finishing today. So thank you very much, gratitude to all and all the best.
A ponieważ dzisiaj występuję tu nie tylko jako minister z Polski, ale także jako przedstawiciel prezydencji w Unii Europejskiej, bo Polska ma ten czas, chciałam też powiedzieć, że kolejne 6 miesięcy w Radzie Unii Europejskiej w obszarze energetyki będziemy właśnie rozmawiać o tym, o co dzisiaj państwo pytacie najbardziej. O bezpieczeństwie w obszarze energetyki. Już w marcu, w trakcie posiedzenia Rady do Spraw Energii, to właśnie słowo bezpieczeństwo będzie odmieniane przez wszystkie przypadki. To o bezpieczeństwie będziemy rozmawiać, włączając w to oczywiście region Morza Bałtyckiego. Dzisiaj podpisaliśmy wspólne porozumienie w tej sprawie, by wspólnie działać na rzecz bezpieczeństwa w obszarze energii w rejonie Morza Bałtyckiego i to powinno być dla całej Europy największe wyzwanie w obszarze naszej odpowiedzialności na kolejne miesiące i lata. Tylko razem współpracując, tylko razem współdziałając będziemy w stanie budować odporność naszych systemów, doprowadzając również do tego, by ceny energii dla mieszkańców naszych krajów były akceptowalne, były niższe, były bardziej dostępne i by nasze gospodarki były bardziej konkurencyjne. To jest, było, jest i będzie naszym celem, wspólnym celem.
Myself also representing Poland, the country which is presiding the European Union for the next 6 months, of course will be aiming at the most efforts to speak about the energy security. The Energy Council that is going to take their meeting in March will mention this word energy security and will mention it in all possible cases. It includes also other Baltic Sea region states. Today we've signed a memorandum, and of course this challenge is something that we have to also go through together, including our resilience, including resilience of our markets, and also including prices that should be affordable, that should be acceptable, and also secure the competitiveness of our economies.
Dear colleague, congratulations again.
Thank you. Now we have also some questions. Please, Gintautas.
Good afternoon, Vytautas Budzinauskas, Delfi news outlet. Dear Ministers, are there any chances to speed up the construction of the Harmony Link interconnection? And should anything happen to the Litpo link, should it be compromised, unfortunately, are there any contingency plans for that? Thank you.
To whom the question, please? Okay.
Maybe I will start. Indeed, Harmony Link, the project is just of vital importance, and this is the package of the synchronization project. So we are saying that now we are synchronized, now we have to be harmonized to have this interconnection, which is additional measure, not only for the market purposes, but also for the system. So this is also improves the security of our systems. And on that ground, I'm happy to say that I see the commitment from the Polish partners to build this link. The current plan is to build this by 2030. Of course, we are making all the possible efforts to make this happen earlier, but of course it depends on our concrete technical things, how we can advance this as soon as possible. So we have this commitment, looking forward to do this as soon as possible.
Yes. Tak jak mówiłam, budowanie bezpieczeństwa jest teraz dla nas największym wyzwaniem. Dzisiejsza synchronizacja jest, można powiedzieć, tylko pierwszym krokiem w budowaniu naszej niezależności energetycznej w tym rejonie i naszej współpracy w tym obszarze. Harmony Link to kolejny krok w tę stronę. Ta inwestycja musi być skończona, byśmy mieli system jeszcze bardziej stabilny i jeszcze bardziej bezpieczny. Natomiast oprócz tego, tak jak powiedziałam, będziemy w najbliższym czasie rozmawiać również o ochronie infrastruktury krytycznej. Ostatnie miesiące pokazują, że to jest jedno z ważniejszych wyzwań. Ochrona infrastruktury krytycznej nigdy dotąd nie była tak istotna, tak ważna i nie stanowiła tak istotnego wyzwania dla krajów europejskich, zwłaszcza dla krajów Europy Środkowo-Wschodniej.
Securing this infrastructure is indeed the challenge that we have to admit and that we have to take all necessary steps to overcome. Today, the first step have been done to the direction of the security of independence of our region in the energy area. Harmony Link will be the next step. It is linked with investments. It is also linked with finalization of this project in order to stabilize the system of the neighboring countries. The security of the infrastructure will be discussed very thoroughly, considering the last month's events in the Baltic Sea, and indeed this is the challenge that we'll have to overcome altogether. That's important for all our region and all our countries.
Yes.
It's everything. Please, Estonian.
Nothing really to add to my colleagues. I think these answers were very understandable and clear, and of course it is also maybe the place to say that we have proved today that also the 3 Baltic states as such in the island mode, everything worked, and this is exactly for the purpose of these kind of risks. Thank you.
I totally agree with my colleagues. I think the best shows that we can work in island mode. That's the most important. So that's even get more important for ourselves that we can do it and it's not make any impact on our energy systems. And I think this is one of the points where we're really good cooperating with our ministries and with our Baltic friends, and we're going together.
Thank you. And the last question from Tautvydas.
Yes, Tautvydas Lukaševičius, Verslo žinios. Going back a little bit in the history, Estonia wanted to synchronize through Finland, Lithuania through Poland, and Latvia in a way to stay a little bit longer in Brel. My question is, what were the key factors helped to convince the partners to synchronize through Poland? Is it Lithuania leadership or is it Poland leadership? How do you see all the situation? Thank you.
Who should answer the question?
For all the ministers.
Yeah, maybe I can start from my side. Fortunately, I joined the process late enough to not know the answer to that. But I must say, joining the process, listening to my Baltic colleagues, to my Polish colleagues, to experts in Europe, to our experts and engineers at home, I was convinced very soon that we have the best partners and that we can do this together, and I had full trust in the process, and I have full trust that also in the future we are stronger together and we will manage all the risks. Thank you.
Yeah, please.
Ja może jeszcze tylko dodam, że oczywiście sama synchronizacja, budowanie tego mostu do krajów bałtyckich była niezwykle trudnym, technicznym zadaniem o niezwykłym znaczeniu geopolitycznym. Natomiast dzisiaj przekonałam się, że również niezwykle emocjonującym. I powiem szczerze, kiedy przycisk został włączony i czekaliśmy na proces pełnej synchronizacji sieci, był to moment niezwykle ekscytujący dla polityków, prawie jak wieczór wyborczy.
I'd say that synchronization and establishing this link was indeed a very difficult task. Not only of geopolitical role, but also of the emotional role as well. Because while today we pushed the button and the system started to work, it was so much exciting as the evening before election for politicians.
Melnis, please.
I would say, if you remember, it all started 2007. At that point, we looked for totally different view. There are many things has changed for these years, and today's situation is totally different. So I think time going, there were different points, different ideas, different views, but most important that we get to the finals. And we get in the finals together. I totally agree, it was really hard. I think there was a lot of discussions. When, how, we know that we even have discussions how faster we can switch off, could it be saved, but most important that we did it. And I think now we must concentrate more together for looking forward, how to improve our systems and which will be the next our together project, where we can work together to improve our energy system, to improve, I would say, even for our consumers, energy prices. That will be the next forward project where we need to find it. And I can even say now, I can say there will be discussions, there will be different views, and it's normal because, but most important, we will find the best way for all of us.
Yes, I will continue with the words of Kaspars, saying that the most important that we did it, we made it, and now we have the celebration. This synchronization project has been really complex technically from the partners' perspective. We had ministries, TSOs, regulators, so this is really has been a complex process. And I would say this has been also the learning process for all of us. And it's most important that probably now, after the synchronization project, we are prepared to do everything. Because we are really synchronized even on the approaches, on the technical levels, on the joint mission and vision, what we have to do. There might be some tactical details, but I think we can easily agree on everything after this project is being implemented. Concerning the success factors, I would say very clearly, there are three main structural factors. So one factor has been, of course, to have the agreement on the interconnection with Poland, Harmony Link. And of course, we are really thankful for the commitment from the Polish side that now we can transfer this from the undersea cable to the on-land cable. That's very important. Another element has been, of course, that we found the technical solutions like the synchronous condensers. And this is really the case that at that time in the discussions 2017, 2018, it is one of the questions has been the operational cost of the synchronization. And these nice elements as the synchronous condensers, we have each 3 countries has 3 synchronous condensers. So this minimizes the operational cost. And this is very good news for our societies because the cost, the operational cost for the synchronization is just nothing. And the third element I would say that has been the success financing from the European Union, from the European Commission. Really that maximum support for our societies, it means that this energy security project has been implemented without such a burden for our consumers. That's very important. So this has been the key 3 success factors, but I think I would like to stress that after synchronization, we can move forward for the other projects.
Thank you, Minister. And on this strong note, we can conclude our conference. Thank you very much. Thank you, participants. Thank you.